Hey!
Hey! Welcome to Remark. I am your host, Kevin Reagan.
Hello, and I am your host, Kristin Finger. And on Remark, we remark on things people make, aka film, television. Therefore, oh boy, we watched the first episode of Loki.
Yeah, hold on a second, Kristin. What are you wearing?
This is just like a crown that I wore at my wedding, and I figured it fit the occasion.
I was
But
at your wedding, and I did not see that crown.
I am not gonna lie to you. If this is what his actual headpiece feels like, he is a master of. That's really cute, Kev. But Kev, I didn't want you to feel left out. I did get you one.
Ooh, that's good. I want that instead.
But also, Kev, when I say that I got you one, I ordered one and they sent me two. So you get one too.
I know that's incredibly uncomfortable because you've been telling me all evening as we let up. So wait, no, don't take it off. Don't take it off. Did you try on the one you got for me to see if it was more comfortable? I knew you would.
I put felt in this one so it will be more comfortable. It's not working. But Kevin, should we tell the folks at home what Remark is?
Well, Remark, we started as a show where we talked about all 40 of the Hallmark holiday movies in 2020, because what else did we have to do this year?
Kevin and I often frequently watch them and talked about them anyway together. And I said to Kevin, what if we watched all 40? And then I made you edit every episode we did.
We really did. It's true. And then we said, let's do it with Loki. And Mike said, why don't you do it live? And I said, do I have to edit? And he said, no. And I
no
said,
editing.
So here we are.
That's why we're here.
And Kevin and Kristin, you know how, like, in the Marvel Disney Plus episodes, they start with kind of what you would call a cold opening in the film industry, which involves, folks just coming right on screen, kind of setting things up, and then they cut to the opening titles.
Yes.
Well, something clever, right?
Right.
We have to say
right. Well, that's my way of letting you know inconspicuously that we haven't run the opening credits yet, but I would love to cut to those. So maybe you say some like really the tagline, the important line that leads into the Remark opening titles, and then we'll cut to those.
Hey, Kev.
Hey, Chris.
You want this episode to be chill or more low key?
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristin.
And there it is. We're back, everybody. It's Remark.
It's as if we rehearsed it.
I kind of like that way. That was
It's
nice.
really good. I also just want to point out the pain that was causing. Therefore, I've taken it off so I can concentrate.
Yeah.
But Kevin, should we get into? And I don't think I need these. I don't have to read anything.
I do. I'm blind.
You do.
Yeah.
Kevin, I'm just going to start off this conversation by saying that I am obsessed with Tom Hiddleston. Should we start there?
Well, I think that people looking behind your shoulder there, they can see there's a picture of you in what looks to be a Cadillac with Tom Hiddleston back in the 1940s, perhaps.
We were big friends in the 40s. We drive around LA together. It was a hot time to be alive. It really was.
And if I'm not mistaken, Kristin, if you move just the tiniest bit, I believe that's our friend Ali Sewell up there with you and Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, we met him and he feels like a god of stone. Like when we got to touch it,
Yeah.
it was brilliant.
Here's the thing. I feel weird because if I move, It seems like I'm creepy because there's a picture of Jojo Siwa here because I'm in my daughter's playroom because there is nowhere else I could think of to do this. So
I think it's appropriate. I think it's great. And I also appreciate Spike being in your background. I think Spike, oh my goodness, crossover universe? Spike and Loki? Like a new buddy cop sort of genre?
this is the buddy cop. We're already in the buddy cop series. So do you want to talk a little bit about what the episode was about?
You know what? I think that's what the folks are here for. So we watched episode 1, Burdened with Glorious Purpose. This shirt you can get from an amazing woman who makes all of these. Now, I believe from Philadelphia. Mike's going to drop the sweet link in the chat. They have so many amazing shirts, and they have a whole bunch of new Loki ones, too. But yes, Kevin, please, break down the episode.
Oh, I was not prepared for that. Normally, if you've watched our Remark episodes where we talk about Hallmark, I can do this in like 20 minutes. I almost want to ask this, though. Kristin, how many times did you watch this episode?
3. Thank you for asking.
Mike, are you there? Is he here?
I am here. It's actually kind of fun when I leave and then you ask if I'm here because I get to reappear as if I were a genie of some sort. So I am here. Hey, really quick, y'all. We have a lot of people already in the chat. Jacqueline says, so excited for this. Jazz says they love your headpieces. And Jazz also said that was a genius opener. So I think we have to keep this off open from here on.
If that's the only genius of any of this show, then
we are flying. I'm good. We can end it now. Cut, wrap, cut to gate. Whatever the language of the LA people is.
I think it's
check the gate. Check the gate.
Check the gate.
Catherine is here and is Loki loving. Allie is of course here. So CSC Philadelphia. Those folks are in the chat as well. Linda's watching from Chicago. Gabriella says yay. Jacqueline is from Illinois. So we got people all over the place.
Wow.
That is my long way of saying I only watched it once because I wanted to keep myself raw, just like Tom Hiddleston's just chest when he gets his uniform ripped off there, raw and uncut.
Chris, are you ready with it? Kristen's always ready.
There it is. Yeah. So once for me.
Yeah, it's not even a screensaver on her phone anymore. It is just what her phone is. She doesn't use it for any other purpose.
It's the only action my phone does.
No texting. I watched it twice. So I don't know if you want to take the reins on this, but it's your guy.
I'd love to. Let's open in a world of 2012 of New York City when the Avengers were going after Loki from taking over the world. Well, he failed, but suddenly, later in time, also, this is my back in time voice.
No, you've done that voice for a lot of recaps in the past. Keep going.
So, time travelers time traveled, and therefore Loki was able to time travel as well. And I don't know if you noticed this, the first thing I thought of when Loki landed in the desert was Iron Man landing in the desert.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
And like that rebirth. Like you knew it was going to be a rebirth. Rebirth in sand. So
yes.
Tony Stark, who was a bit of a handful, if you will, and then same deal, crashes in the sand. Loki, we already know, crashes in the sand. And then he immediately, the great orator that Loki is, he gets up on the rock to speak to people.
He's like, I'm above you.
And they don't understand what he's saying. And it is an amazing moment.
It's so good. And I think also what's amazing, and they address this, is that Tom Hiddleston, first of all, best actor forever. I mean, Tom Hanks is close. Maybe tie. Yeah. And then there's Tyler Hines. Anyway,
we are all about
I just love a TH.
Yeah.
But he had to get rid of the entire journey that he had taken in character developing to be Loki through all the other ones, and then be like, wait, where was my head at?
Yeah.
In the first one, because that's where we just pick up from. And I don't know if you. I'm going to drop a little TH knowledge on you right now. When they bumped him around, they made sure to put a bump here because Tom Hiddleston in 2014, after finishing doing Coriolanus, was drinking backstage and someone hit a door in his face and has a scar there now on his actual forehead.
Wow.
And they had to make a reason why he has that scar now, which I thought was amazing continuity. Is that the correct word?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I thought that was. I just assumed it was from. We saw him. The Hulk was beating the living
for
crap.
sure.
Yeah.
But I went back and watched the Avengers to see if they add like it's in a different placement to cover where his new scar is, and I was like, okay, all right, that's next level. That's a TH novel dropped on you.
TH
knowledge.
So then we go from Tom Hiddleston is immediately grabbed up. Would you say grabbed up by the TVA? The TVA comes in. The Time Variant Authority comes in, and they take him to their 1970s abode.
Love the vibe. Like, drop your keys in the bowl, Loki. We're gonna have a good time.
And again, this is where Kristin and I we kind of put our comic ignorance out there. Chris has read comics. She's got the Loki for President right there. Vote Loki. And I've read tons of comics, but like I don't retain stuff. I'm old.
No.
I've gotten old over the years. And,
I couldn't name all 50 states.
No. Well, that's not in the comics that I'm aware. It may be.
No, but I mean like retaining of information.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, you can't even dial people's phone numbers, and we all know what your phone does. It doesn't dial numbers. What does it do?
Did you just want to see this?
Yeah,
This is it. It's so good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty fantastic.
I mean, if we could just we'll break it down later.
So the TVA, I love the fact that it's all analog, and somebody out there might be able to speak to it more than us. So I don't know if somebody wants to say something in the chat, Mike.
Yeah, I'm going to drop that in the chat.
That's also, Kevin, this is a perfect moment to let the folks at home know that we are not experts at all.
In anything.
But we just love this stuff. So we're going to get stuff wrong, and I'm sure those, our fellow nerds out there are going to be like, click, 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 click. So if you feel like sharing with us all the things that we get wrong in every single episode of this show, please email us at remarktheshow@gmail.com, and we will perhaps speak your corrections on the show.
We will probably forget, to be quite honest. We will probably forget.
No one checks that email anymore.
There is something amazing, though, about everything being analog at the TVA, because right now, obviously we live in a very digital age, and we are constantly reading in the news about this being hacked and that being hacked. And immediately I thought, wow, this is keeps them from being able to be, you can't be infiltrated because everything's analog. Everything's on tape. It's 1970 color schemes.
Well, the elevator was like a lever. And I was like, oh my God. Like, just the details in the set design was beautiful. And the color scheme I thought was really beautiful. As a designer myself, I'm always just taken aback when, I would love to see the palette that the designer, showed the director and stuff. Because just the tones of everything set a... not ominous, but also because it so was playful, and I think that's what the orange did. I could talk color theory all day, but we're not here for that. That's my next podcast, color theory with Chris.
Am I part of that? Am I on that? Mike, you there? Mike, you in the corner? Are you going to be in that podcast?
So one thing I will mention, we skipped ahead of it, and this, which is fine, I think we can go back, is the moment where he does the slow-mo bit. This is a well-trained, brilliant actor, went to, acting academies, and goodness gracious, I'm just sweating thinking about his skills. You
want to show us a picture of his skills one more time?
Actually, Kevin, I'm going to actually put a picture over you, so you will disappear, and TH will appear right to Kristin's right in all of his shirtless glory. Yeah, there. Yep, you're basically touching his left bicep there.
Now, when you take that picture away, are people going to be confused and be like, "Wait, he's still there"?
It could be seamless. You've. Wow.
Close. Ballpark.
But what I was going to say, Kevin, is that he broke that down on Jimmy Kimmel the other night. He simply made raspberries with his face. So he went, and they just slowed it down, and that's how they got that. And I just love that. I just, filmmaking's fun. That's all.
It absolutely is. I guess that I have one of these. This is not even close to the same thing. This is like for traffic. If you're directing traffic, I should have warned anybody who might have a seizure if I do that. So I'll do a solid light. But then, so they had the purple going, right? Not the orange, and I found that interesting. And I do want to address when we come back around the purple and the orange. So, because purple.
Are we still on? Are we switching over to Kristin's Color Theory podcast?
Oh, I thought we did. I when I said Mikey here, he didn't answer. I assumed we were on a whole new podcast.
My mic was muted. I apologize, Kevin.
Where do I want to? The check-in process is sort of what I'd really like to break down, and I think throughout the entire episode, I mean, they've hired Owen Wilson, delightful, comedic timing. Tom Hiddleston, yes, thank you so much. But also, like, the writing and I think the path that they sent him on from, like, check-in was hilarious.
Absolutely.
So the first is pushing him into that adorable robot that basically I think was every fan at home of like, is this when he gets naked?
Yep.
And just like poking and prodding him of like, what's
very
this
similar
like?
to almost the part that Stan Lee played in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Same situation, ripped off the clothes from Thor.
Yeah.
His hair.
Not as exciting for me. I mean, I like a Hemsworth, but I love a Hiddleston. Meow.
I get it. It's fine.
But then when they pushed him into the room and there's a kitty cat and that guy, it's just, I loved, they took the time to do that, to show not just like, you've arrived.
Yeah.
It was like all this, and the way he was responding to that, his comedic timing was brilliant.
So good. And he was out of place. Like, he felt out of place, and that was great to see that in Loki, because Loki is always in control, and he was absolutely, from the very beginning, the second he hit the sand and, you know,
Out of control.
People, no control. Also, the cat. A lot of people online think that may not be a cat, because there are no cats in Marvel anymore.
Right.
All Flurgan. So.
It's a Flurgan. Yeah, I assumed that because he went, and I think he assumed Flurgan.
Yeah. Did you notice that gentleman, as he's checking him in, and he takes the stack, and I'm fine with the stack. People have to cool it with the stack. Like, there's no way if the guy's been around for 3,000 years that's everything he said. Maybe all he ever says is what we see. And other than that, he's very solitary. We don't
Never spoken. Or you don't know what font size they used.
Good point. Yeah, that could be really, really tiny. What font do you think they use? Not size, but what do you think? Comic Sans?
Listen, I'm going to go with a sort of like a sans serif, maybe an Arial, in like a 2-point. So like you can't actually read it.
Magnifying glass?
Yeah.
But
It's just dots.
That guy, if you looked, was playing an analog. I mean, it was a computer, so I guess it's not analog. But he was playing solitaire. Did you notice that?
I did.
Which is great, because that's like a throwback to the Avengers, where he sees
that guy is playing Galaga.
Yeah, it's so great.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
There are a lot of great comments coming through on the time periods. CSE Philadelphia says maybe it's an agency that, because they're crossing time, combines styles from all different time periods. I think that's super smart.
Yeah.
And then Jazz says...
So based on that, then every single multiverse had like a version of the 70s.
Yes!
Totally. And then Jazz says, not to skip ahead, but because of that sort of timeline theory, they love that every timeline Loki is given the chance to be a good guy. So Loki always has the chance potentially to be a good guy. We also have a battle going on of Tom H versus Chris H right now. Jazz says Tom, Catherine says Tom. A lot of votes for Tom right now. Catherine says butt naked Tom beats
Thank you.
Chris Hemsworth
Listen, if everyone, I'm sure all these fans have seen High Rise. Oh, yeah. That's a full naked Tom Hiddleston.
And Alejandro says Happy Pride Month. So Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Oh, Happy Pride Month. Huzzah.
But anyway, back to you guys.
Amazing. So, Kevin, should we move into... I have notes. That's what I'm looking at. I don't want you to think I'm... But Kevin, look what I have notes on.
Oh, I see a lot of Hulk. I see a little bit of Thor.
There's no Loki on it. I got this at Wizard World's Con, like maybe 5 years ago in Philly. Yeah. Good times. Good times.
Loki. Absolutely.
One of my favorite Loki lines was when he said he could smell the cologne of two Tony Starks.
Yeah. You could all. It was like a scratch and sniff movie. We could all smell it. It was
We
great.
can all smell it. But I did appreciate that they addressed and that he was like, this is not on me. This is the Avengers. Why are we in trouble?
Yeah, yeah.
That was something going in that I was like, wait, why is he in trouble for this jumping out of timeline? These folks were in and out of the like, come on. They were jumping in and out all the time.
Yep. Yeah, so then Ravonna Renslayer, which was perfect, says, that they were supposed to do that. And that really felt almost like, not fan service, but whatever the opposite of fan service is, like saying to the fans, yeah, we know what you're going to say, and we're going to answer it. So that was supposed to happen. And I thought that was a great way to just go, look, of course you're going to be able to nitpick and find little pieces.
Right.
There is a little piece that I think, I'm trying to think of where it happens, and it's worth mentioning right here because we had a thread going too. And Mike, help me out. Who was it? Who was on the thread with us? She was handling social media.
Jazz.
Yeah. Jazz had said that you could see Peggy Carter, and there's a lot of people talking about that. In the background, it looks like Peggy Carter is being brought back in, and she also had a Tesseract. I mean, like the availability of a Tesseract, but that would mean that Steve. I've been thinking about this a lot. That would mean Steve Rogers either let them take her and then lived out all his days. So when he's there at, big spoiler coming up, I assume everyone knows, when he's at Tony Stark's funeral and he gives the shield to Sam, he's been living with someone else or no one at all, but Peggy for a very long time. And
that Peggy, when those people were like, take a number, Peggy Carter was like, no, and then they
immediately she was gone. Absolutely, yeah.
I do what I want.
Yeah, and there were you saw in those moments there was also a scroll, and you're probably going to see scrolls start popping up everywhere now.
I think so. For sure. I think also, who else popped up? My cat's name is Agent Coulson. Therefore, when Agent Coulson came on the screen, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But what I loved was that sort of like memory bank of, I think it was, Morpheus says, you were born to cause pain, suffering, and death, and to basically make others be the heroes.
Yeah.
Imagine someone literally saying that to you of like, oh, listen, your purpose, like, it wasn't a glorious one. It was to, like, be a jerk.
Yeah, you're a side character. That's all you are. The story is not about you. It's about other people, and you just get to either put a blockade in front of them that they have to overcome, or you get to, whatever it is, you get to help them rise up, but that is not for you.
Right.
And as Loki is watching a lot of the footage, so that, as Chris said, this is Loki 2012. And so he doesn't have all of these frames of reference from Dark World. He doesn't have the death of his mother. He doesn't have his father calling him son. He doesn't have his brother telling him how much he meant to him. And then obviously he's still alive. Another spoiler. To see those moments and to watch Tom Hiddleston do that. And when we watched it, I said to my wife, I said, this had the potential to be, we can chat and you can yell at me for this, but it had the potential to be boring because it's just exposition in one room. It was, I know, Kristin, bear with me. I'm not saying it was, but his acting was so good. And Owen Wilson was right there with him that it was like such a profound moment that everything that we had erased about Loki, bringing it back in and doing it that way, it was well worth that journey. So.
I think the big thing that I kind of have a takeaway from this episode is watching Loki discover kind of the journey that he does go on.
Yeah.
Because there's that moment, oh God, I have too many thoughts in my head, but there's that moment where he says, it's part of the illusion, a cruel, elaborate trick conjured by the weak to inspire fear.
So yeah, that was him. Like at first, that was him putting that on the TVA. Like this is a trick.
No. This was like when he was sitting, and
Right, but
the
then
Tesseract didn't work, and he was like, literally, this was like, do you enjoy? And
Yeah.
Owen Wilson's character was like, do you enjoy murdering people? And he's like, no, this is literally no. And at that moment, can we give them an Oscar? Yeah, I think we can.
Here's the one thing. And that was so emotional in my first viewing. My second viewing, I had a slightly different feel. And it was almost like it was almost the Kaiser Soze moment. And I don't know if we can reference Kaiser Soze anymore, but there was a thing. Don't look into it. Don't look into it. But there, like that Kaiser Soze moment, because he had already put that on the TVA and said that about them. That this is a trick that you trying to do on the weak-minded, and I'm smart. And Morpheus even says, "Yeah, you are smart." Like he Morpheus. Did we call him Morpheus?
I think so. Listen, we'll get the email about it.
Yeah. Whoever, if you didn't send that one already, just don't.
We told you, we don't care.
Yeah. So, but when Morpheus says, take this pill, so part of me thinks, is Loki still messing with him?
I don't know. My third time through, I got that same feeling.
Yeah. You go back and forth.
I was like, I just wasn't. Yeah, I think he's being true, but I think he's going to realize when he's on this journey, he can still be him. Because he's still that mischievous, I love mischievous scamp. I love it. I need to put that on a shirt. But like in Owen Wilson's accent somehow.
I bet you Jordan, is it Dean? D-E-N-E.
There's sometimes a special asterisk at the end of their name. So Jordan Dene.
Okay, well, however you type it in, it is possible that they have a shirt that already says this. So let's look for that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Kevin, it's almost about that time. But before we get to that actual time, can we talk about the potential? And I don't know if you also saw this, but on Loki's form, speaking of Pride Month,
perfect.
His gender is fluid.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, I'm yesing in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please join us, Mike. Join us.
Mike, are you down there? Great.
Yeah, I came out again to yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's fantastic. And it also, this is a good moment to at least say this. Towards the end of the episode, we're going to talk about our theories and your theories as well. So if you want to prepare them mentally and be ready to put them in the chat, you can do that now, and we'll make Mike dig through them, because what else is he doing down there? But if you want to hold off, we will talk to that.
Yeah. We want to know what you, like what are your theories or what are your predictions?
Yeah,
for next week.
Ooh, yes, doesn't. Yeah, exactly. So, hey, Chris, when we were doing Remark, we're still doing it. When we were doing the Hallmark movie,
this is still Remark.
Yeah. I thought again we got to come up with a name for our color podcast. I don't know. But when we were doing the Hallmark movies, we did a little segment, and we've just done a fine tune on it to objectify Tom Hiddleston.
Ooh. Is that the cue for Mike?
That's your cue, Mike.
Cue the transition. All right, it's time for some objectification, and Kevin once again has been replaced with Tom Hiddleston's rock hard abs.
So typically in Hallmark movie fashion, they have a male identifying lead that we're supposed to assume is attractive. So therefore, each movie, Kevin and I would objectify the male main character, because women identifying folks have been objectified for way too long. So in this typical Remark form, we are going to objectify this right here. And hopefully that's not Kevin now. That is still Loki.
It was Kevin for a second, but it's back to Loki.
In our Hiddleston's heartthrob hunkiness objectification, the reason it's so cumbersome of a name is because it used to be Hallmark's holiday hunk objectification, and Kevin didn't want to change the logo.
It's true.
right, Kevin and Kristen. Tom is now right in between both of you, so you're making a Tom Hiddleston sandwich right now. Yeah.
Been there, right, Allie? Whoa!
Hey.
So we're gonna rate Tom 1 out of 10. Usually we do mistletoe because of. But what do we think, Kev? I don't think we've.
I think I did the horns, but we could do tesseracts. Your dealer's choice, Kristen.
No, I like it. The horns works for me.
How horny are you?
Yeah,
that's. Is that too much, Mike? What
kind of show is this?
It's fine. It's 4 p.m. on the West Coast, so we're fine.
So we're gonna rate Tom 1 out of 10 hornies, and Kevin, I'm going to start. Actually, Kevin, I'll start with you as always.
Okay. Oh yeah.
We'll go to Mike. Yeah.
So I'll go first, and then we'll go with Mike. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay. So again, a lot of times when we do this, I break down the performance, and you will see, Kristin, though she cares about the art of performance, there are other factors. This time around, I'll join you. I will join you in the horniness factor. He's a good-looking dude. And again, when we do our Hallmark objectification, a lot of the Hallmark films had been shot over COVID, and it was at the height of COVID, so people weren't cutting their hair. There was a lot of greasy hair. So we've talked a lot about greasy-haired gentlemen, and Loki has like a look that's somewhat, it's well traveled, I'll say. I won't say greasy, but it works for him. That said, when you saw him close crop, clean cut as DB Cooper, oh man, come on, that smooth neck. As a bald dude, it gets hairy back here still. I got to cut that, and mad respect. So I'm gonna do this just a bit. There's got to be room to go up. I'm going to go 9 hornies.
Wow.
You're ridiculous. Mike, 1 out of 10 hornies. How many do you give Tom Hiddleston in episode 1?
Wow. Well, Kevin, you give him a 9? A 9 out of 10. And you said there's still room to go up.
It's supposed to be 10, but you'll see what happens.
Well, Allie gave him, I'm not great with the zeros. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I think a 1 million. I think that's 1 million. Someone said long-haired Loki 6, short-haired Loki 10. So they're making a differentiation off of the hair. I will say I don't like short. I'm gonna flip it. Short-haired Loki doesn't do it for me. He's a little too posh and British for me. I like a beefy American. I don't know.
That's cool. Your prerogative means xenophobe.
You've given me a platform I never needed. But here we go. I'm a Hemsworth type. You know what I mean? Like an Evans, close second. And I didn't know I liked Tom Hiddleston as much as I did until last night. So I would say prior to episode 1, I would have given him a strong 7.5. 7.5. Wow. After last night's episode, he's up there with like an 8.5 to 9. Yeah.
So you're not that far off from a 9. I'm not sure what you were hitting me on, but I guess you also saw from the chat.
Yeah, you seemed very excited, so I had to knock one half point off for your excitement.
Yeah. I just have one question. Is that picture still up?
The picture is still up, and it's actually making my Geiger counter, like, you know what I mean, like,
is my arm around him? Like
it's not. That would be impossible in the virtual world. But
you know what, Mike? We asked you to do tech. If I was editing this, my arm would be around him.
Yeah, you can do it on the on the Zoom replay or on the YouTube.
I'm not
going
to.
Okay.
So I'm going to break it down.
Yeah.
Tell us I'm going to give him an infinity.
Wow.
Wow. Infinity hornies. I don't think there is any specimen of humankind hotter than Tom Hiddleston. Chris Evans is like so close. Okay. Like so close. But Tom Hiddleston.
What about Chris Evans in Scott Pilgrim? He's a vegan.
So I give him 10 million gajillion infinity horns.
Wow.
And it's the looks. It's the acting as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
I'm so sorry.
It's this. It's also, I mean, let's be honest.
It's just this.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever been this ripped before either. Like the rest of us during quarantine, we're like, screw it. And this guy's like,
Oreos.
you know what?
Give me all the Oreos. Yeah. This, no Oreos. None at all.
Wow. Usually I talk about a body part that a female has that helps her give birth. That Mike, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but my
Do it. Go for it.
uterus is on fire!
Totally fine.
Kristin and I talked beforehand. She said, I'm not going to talk about my uterus at all, which her mother prefers she doesn't, because every time she does.
Here's the thing. When we talk about Tyler Hines from the Hallmark world, I often talk about my uterus, and we shared it on a Tyler Hines Facebook wall, and one of the admins, who is a 90-year-old woman, was like, thank you so much for sharing this. It's a lovely video, and thank you for saying so many lovely things about Tyler Hines, but it's a bit too spicy.
It's like Hot Ones.
Hot ones. So, I'm going to cool my uterus down, but Kevin...
Listen, here's what's very interesting. I just want to say this. Mike gave us an 8.5.
8.5.
I gave a 9.
I'm trying to set a standard here,
Yeah. So, Mike, here's the thing. Based on this episode, you and I gave much better ratings than Kristin, and here's why. We found out in this episode the Infinity Stones do not mean a damn thing. Infinity does not matter.
Wow!
Nothing, Kristin.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you said Tom Hiddleston looks like garbage.
Oh.
The Honus Wagner baseball card is better looking and more valuable than what you gave Tom. I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there.
Wow.
Why are you so mean to me?
Wow.
Because you never asked me to do the color podcast. And I'm really
We've got people are chiming in. We have Jazz gives a straight up 10 this episode, and thanks for the pick. Hems is a 6 at best. Catherine says gives 10 hornies. Playing by the rules. There, Jazz. Sorry, where else? Oh, Barbara says, Kevin, I hate to call you out on this, but Brandon Ralph is the vegan in Scott Pilgrim, not Chris Evans.
No!
Not Chris Evans. So there's
Email Kevin, Barbara.
fake news.
remarkshow.com.
Remark. Well, what's the email again?
remarktheshow@gmail.com.
gmail.com. There you go.
You're correct. But
Gary is just saying, I'm loving everything about this. So,
Gary!
everybody's in.
I need to, Mike, can you put out if it's Gary, like I think it's Gary.
Is it with a junior?
Yes, Gary!
Is it Gary Copestake Jr.? Then
Yay!
then yes, it is.
That's amazing. Him and his wife have an amazing podcast where they talk about how bad kids shows are.
Yeah, I don't know if we can say the official name of the podcast, but we'll say stuff.
You can shout them out. Oh, I get it. I see where you're going.
Yeah. I don't want to say that, but
we do have a question. We do have a quick question for you. So we were rating Tom H, and we're all agreed he's pretty hot. CSC Philadelphia wants to know who wins in a fight, Loki or non-Infinity Stone Thanos. So Loki has, I'm assuming they mean like Loki has his powers, like his god powers, or we get just non-Infinity Stone Thanos. So basically just kind of like a brute alien. Who wins?
I think Loki, 100%.
Yeah. Thanos. I think
Ooh.
Sorry,
Am I the tiebreaker? Am I the tiebreaker?
Yeah, what do you think, Mike?
This is why I'm so, can I like be honest and say this is why I'm so excited about this series, because I think we're breaking and we're bending a lot of rules in the MCU.
Wait, what series? You're talking Loki?
Loki. Sorry, Loki. I'm also so excited to be here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. But no, why I'm so excited for Loki is I think this is where like rules change and things get bended. And so and the Infinity Stone moment was one of my favorites of the episode, because it was like, doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. You thought like Thanos was the most powerful being in the universe. Like he's not even close. And so that's where I'm going to give it to Loki, because I think because of his intelligence and ability to figure out what is the most powerful thing, and he struggled with it in this whole episode. He's like, oh my gosh, there's something more powerful than what I thought was the most powerful. Yeah. I think he would be able to figure it out and take on. I think Thanos, like if they just were having like no magic, just punching each other, Thanos wins because he's just bigger.
Yeah, he's just bigger.
Yeah, but I think Loki would figure out how to beat him without Infinity Stones.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is great. Thank you, Mike. Kevin, you lose. Okay, so should we move?
I accept my loss.
Should we move
do it.
into our next segment, Kevin? But we need to talk about it first because we need to know.
Yeah.
So we weren't sure if we were allowed to use footage from the show. We didn't want to get in trouble. So Kevin and I came up with the idea of Loki Lo-Fi, which is us just reenacting one of the scenes. But Kevin, get yours out. I'll get.
Well, we
mine.
have an opening. Do we want our opening? Are we doing this like a cold opening too?
It's
Yeah,
trend.
it's a cold opening.
Oh, it's a cold opening. Got it. I'll wait for the perfect moment. Go for
Okay,
it.
all right. So, well, I you know what? That's fine. Let me do this real fast. If we're about to do a scene,
I think he wants the opening. I think he wants the opening.
Yeah, it was gonna come back and just be up, but this works.
That feels like the appropriate transition to the opening.
All right, Chris.
And we're back.
All right. All right.
Loki, here's my question. Do you enjoy hurting people?
No, I don't enjoy hurting people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Wait, let me do an outro just to give that segment more time. Yeah, here we go. And there it is.
Wait,
We worked.
Ignore that man behind the curtain. All right,
We worked hours on these puppets.
Let me tell you something. You try making a puppet with a 7-year-old and a puppy pit bull in your house. It is not easy to do. Oh, also having no artistic talent to make a puppet.
Also, when I sort of like sat down, I was like, I'm gonna make Loki, and then at some point, I decided vampire.
You did. You made Dracula, and I think I might have like Columbo. You know what, Chris? This is a good time too to plug. Chris and I are not part of this, so you will not see these types of puppets, but to plug Trash Puppets for Comedy Support.
Yeah. They're going to be doing a virtual show where what they do is they send each other trash, literal trash from their house, and then they do an unboxing and they have to make a puppet out of the trash, and then they present them and improvise scenes with them. So those are the next 3 Fridays. You can get that link, I think. Kevin will send it to Mike, and then Mike will send it to the universe. But all Comedy Sports Philly shows this month are free. So check those out because it's the funniest show ever, and their puppets are much better than this.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Much better.
We got a 7 hornies for Puppet Loki. 7 puppet hornies, and the puppets were fantastic. So a lot of good reviews. For the puppets in the chat.
I just think I made sure that his hair could still blow in the wind.
I did my hair as paper, and then I was like, no, I should put cotton up here. And I can see by my lighting, it blows out and doesn't matter anyhow.
Please, wait a minute. There's a really important thing on Kevin's puppet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. If you look at the eyes, those are actually Owen Wilson's eyes.
Oh, that is not serial killer at all.
Yeah, I thought when I did it, as I'm like clipping it, I was like, yeah, this is very David Fincher. I don't know what the hell's happening.
Kevin, no offense, but what were the things you took a long time to put up on tape behind you? Was that the walls of the TVA? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the circles and half circles. Some are complete, some are incomplete. Lots of theories online about those as well. We could talk about them, but we will be talking more about them in our Color and Shape podcast that Mike and I are going to be doing without Kristin.
What?
Yeah.
Also, Kevin, you didn't approve that background, those circles. Like, you didn't let me know we were doing that. Like,
I know. I always do that to you, and I know it annoys you. I'm sorry.
Because I'm like, I can be creative too, Kevin.
Look, this is what I pass for a circle, so I don't know how creative. It's like an egg.
That's awful. So this has been amazing. Hopefully some folks have been putting in what your predictions or fan theories are. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're at like the 10-minute until we have to stop talking about the first episode, I think. I don't want to hold up Wizard World.
I've got nothing else to do this night. No. Yeah,
This is great.
Yeah, let's do it. You want transition into Loki theories?
Yeah.
I'd love it.
All
Yeah.
right.
Let's get into it.
So for those in the chat, we saw a couple theories earlier when I proposed it, but drop your theories now. What's going to happen throughout the series, episodes 2 through 6? And here we go. It's Loki theories time. I'm going to play it again because I liked it. Yeah, that might have bumped me up to a 9 in because of that very adorable,
Right?
very adorable.
It's very cute. It's very cute. So, Kevin, do you have a theory as to perhaps...
I do. I have one theory that I think is kind of the general theory, and then I have a second theory that I kind of hinted at. My general theory is, and you know, this is kind of going around. A lot of people are saying we're going to see obviously a lot of variants of Loki. You're going to see, you're probably going to see old man Loki, and there are actors we haven't seen yet. So it's very possible that, like, named actors. I'm trying to find everyone's names just to make it seem like, oh, he's so well researched. There we go. Richard E. Grant from Hudson Hawk. You see, I went to Hudson Hawk. And Sophia DiMartino. So the even money is on Lady Loki showing up. And there's a lot of belief that is who you're going to see as soon as next week. That Lady Loki will show up. That is who's burning in Oklahoma, who set the fire. I definitely believe that, but I also believe that Loki is not showing all his cards. I don't think he ever does. I do not think he's showing all his cards. I did not go back and watch a third time, but I'm going to. We saw how he very trickstery took Mobius's time twister and took it out of his pocket. I want to go back and see, did he put the time stone that he picked up out of that drawer back in the drawer? And I don't know that he did. So I think Loki's got devious plans up his sleeve.
I agree with you. I think that there's no way that Loki doesn't have plan B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, he's got a ton. And I'm very excited also, like, in the aspect of watching Ragnarok, where Thor got to discover actually what his true power was.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure Loki has ever discovered that, because I think he's held himself back of just, this is who I am. But I feel like once he starts letting go and realizing he's more than that, I think he's going to realize more powers that he actually has.
I think you're right.
And I'm very excited for that. I also think maybe a little Benny Cumberbatch might show up at some point.
Yeah, I maybe. I think that the even money is on Kang the Conqueror showing up to kind of cross over to Ant-Man, but it's very possible it's the same writer as the guy who wrote Doctor Strange, so it's very possible that you're going to see some connection. I would love it if it's Cumberbatch. I
would listen. We were talking about my lady parts earlier. If both of them were on screen again together,
Yes.
Yeah. Would you give that more of those worthless Infinity Stones? Mike, what's the chat say? What are some theories?
There's some really good theories coming through. I want to say first, I think because the emphasis, I'm going to give my theory really fast, was so much on Loki escaping and all, like, and Mobius being such a fan of his escapes. I think he knows all about his various timelines, and that the Thanos kill will come back in some sort of fake out thing that he and maybe it's not like as obvious as like, oh, I knew it was going to happen, but him learning that now is going to make him like stay on in the MCU. I think this is going to happen for actually a bunch of characters given the multiverse. A lot of characters that are quote unquote gone. Maybe
No longer
may
with
return.
us? Yeah.
May return. But otherwise, we got a lot of fun fan things going on. Melissa says, prediction, more shirtless Lokis. They
Okay,
think they're
all right.
definitely
She's
big.
done it. She's done it.
Jazz thinks the variant Loki is Lady Loki. Variant Loki is actually the lady, which I think is super cool. Catherine agrees with sort of this idea of like he knows about his escape and he's trying to escape. CSC Philadelphia says the multiverse blows up, leading to DS2, Doctor Strange 2, of course. Gary says, I want to see a Loki that escapes from before Odin grabs him. So it just never becomes part of Asgard. So,
that would be interesting. Yeah. As a kid, that'd be like kid, and there is a kid Loki. There is a variant kid Loki.
Yeah. We have a fan. Honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen in the most wonderful way, but I'm here for the ride. The MCU has not disappointed yet. And Jazz brings up a good point that, Strange was supposed to, we were so excited about him potentially showing up in WandaVision. So it feels like it's on, it has to happen at some point to
My Cumberbatch-o-meter is like tingling, so I feel like he's coming.
Your Cumberbatch.
He's in the wind. He's coming.
Yeah.
He's coming. He's coming. Those are amazing theories. And also, like, I feel like what this time sort of aspect has given us is the possibility of literally anything.
Really anything.
Yeah,
anything.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I would watch an entire remake of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe in a different timeline. Like,
Well,
you were talking earlier, like,
Yeah.
make all of them in the 70s.
Oh, man.
Make all of them. Like, it was like the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was like when they did all those time jumps and that I loved so much. And Zeke staying in the 90s. So... JJ Ward, if you're watching, I love you. So Kevin, we did it. This was fun.
Yeah, this was so much fun, Mike. Thank you for letting us do this.
Kevin and I are too legit excited that Wizard World has allowed us to do this. If you're interested in seeing any of the episodes that we've done previously about Hallmark films, which is a completely different genre than this, please check out our YouTube station, Remark the Show. And same, I believe our handles are all the same as that on Instagram and Facebook. And I don't think we're on Twitter yet, Kev. Should we expand?
Yes, we should if you're going to do it. No, we're not going to then.
No, we're not going to. So please follow us there. You can follow all my handles. I'm at Chris and Cats, and I believe Kevin is at Your Hero Kevin.
That's right. You're Kevin. Twitter. I am on Twitter on that one. I handle my own Twitter on that one.
Yeah, I have my own account. But please share with us on those accounts what you thought of tonight's episode. If you're like, please stop doing this. We'll appreciate those notes as well.
We're not going to. We're already obligated to do all 6 episodes, so don't watch, I guess. How dare you?
Also, if anyone knows if we can get Tom Hiddleston to come on, let's all start that.
And if any of our Hallmark fans are kind of coming over and watching and you have no idea what's going on, this is the series I would say to definitely watch. And if you're somebody who's trying to get somebody into Marvel, this is, like, I felt like WandaVision did feel like you needed to see a little bit.
Yeah.
I definitely felt that way with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But with this one, I think that first episode, you really, if you've seen the first Avengers movie, which based on the box office you have, that's all you need to see. And everything else from there on out is kind of a new world. So, but if you are a Hallmark fan who's come over to this, we're this close to getting Tyler Hynes on the show.
Yeah. #Heinies unite. Okay. So... Well, we want to thank Mike and we want to thank Jazz for helping us get the word out on social media. And thank you, Wizard. Oh my God, I can't believe we're on this. This is the coolest thing ever. Thank you, Wizard World.
Thank you. See you next week.
This is us saying goodbye, Mike. Goodbye.
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't